welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be making some buttermilk fried chicken. Oh my goodness, this is going to be good, right? So I have my chicken here. I have bought some Best Rest mixed parts, the chill bulk pack, that one, because of course the chicken is already cut up in nice pieces, even pieces. All the pieces look good and clean and nice, right? So this is going to make the process way easier. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open this parcel for you to see exactly what I am talking about. Look at that. This is the chicken breast. You know, I don't like to touch meat with my hand, right? I don't have any gloves on just yet, so I'm just poking it up here for you to see. Chicken leg, you know, the rib, my favorite part, the thigh, all of that goodness. So I am going to be soaking this chicken in a little bit of vinegar water to get rid of that excess rawness that there is. Some persons say, oh, don't do that because what you're doing is spreading the bacteria. I don't care about that aspect of the science. I know what works for me. So this particular chicken was bought at Super Value, and I don't know what it is, but I find that the meat that is to be found at Super Value is just way cleaner. It doesn't smell as loud, so I like to purchase chicken there. Of course, you know that when it comes to other meat, I purchase that from my meat lady, Miss Sinclair, in the Crossroads Meat Market. So go down there, tell her that I sent you, right? Now, by the way, this is not any paid advertisement for Super Value or for Miss Sinclair, for anybody. I'm just talking about what it is that I use. When you find good products and good services, it's very important that you talk about it. As you can see here, the chicken is washed. Now, one of the key things I want to talk about is the chicken thigh. There's a bone. Again, I'm touching this without gloves. There's a bone that is in here, right, between this section of the thigh here and the other part. You want to make sure that you just use your thumb and break this from now, because you're going to be frying the chicken, and you want to ensure under this section tends to be a little bit bloody, right? So you ever get fried chicken before and then you recognize that when you cut it inside of the thigh, it just doesn't look clean. One, because people fail to wash the chicken properly, and two, it's as though there's like a little clot. That's what it looks like a fried piece of clot. You don't want that. So the best thing to do is to break that bone to release the blood in the frying process, and also to ensure that the chicken will cook all the way through. So for this recipe, I'm not going to be cooking the chicken on the stovetop, because that's going to be taking a lot of time, and I really have a million and one things to do today. So I'm going to be using a fryer to get this done. But like I said, this is buttermilk fried chicken, so I do have some buttermilk powder here. This is the Now Real Food brand. That's what's available. So I'm going to go ahead and make my milk. Boom, adding a little bit of water to this. As you can see, I've had this for a little bit of time, because you notice that it's a little bit clumpy, but that's all right. We're gonna use it nonetheless because it's not spoiled. And just like that, buttermilk. Let's get to the seasoning process. So the first thing I want to go in with is some black pepper. Very generous with this. Fried chicken doesn't need a lot of seasoning, you know. So that's black pepper. I'm also going to be adding a bit of paprika, just regular paprika, not smoked paprika. By the way, I am eyeballing all of what I'm doing. That's expected. I'm also going to be adding some cayenne pepper. I like to add cayenne pepper to meat generally, so the little spice, you know, a little kick. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of Italian herbs. This is the Mediterranean blend. This is the one I made myself. I bought all the ingredients and chopped them and put them together in a little bottle. All right. I'm also going to be adding some Cajun seasoning. All right, Cajun flavor. Yes, honey, Cajun, lots of Cajun flavor, because that's what I love. And of course, I am going to be adding a little bit of salt to the mix. Not too much, just a touch of salt. Also to the mix, adding some onion powder. By the way, all of these are just ground seasoning, right? I think that I know everybody knows this. No artificial anything to my pot. At least that's what the wrapper says. So So that's some onion, and I'm also going to be adding some garlic powder to the mix. Garlic makes a good seasoning, y'all. Doing this kind of like a KFC vibe, you know, where you have 11 herbs and spices. That's the idea. Alright, so with this said, I'm going to now marinate this chicken. I'm going to rub it in and allow the seasoning to set in before adding the buttermilk. This is what it looks like once it's all the way in. So I'm just gonna go in now and add the buttermilk to this mix. So I added some scallion. How could I forget that? You can't make fried chicken without scallion. You know, the scallion give it a little flavor there. So I have some scallion here, and I also have some thyme that I added. This is ready. This is just ready to marinate. Look at the color. The color of the milk is going to change because of the seasoning that's added. Why am I adding the buttermilk? I mean, it gives it good flavor, but outside of that, what the buttermilk will ensure is that the chicken is very, very, very moist when it is fried. So I love what's going on here. I'm gonna cover this up, and I am going to be putting this in the refrigerator overnight. Our chicken is now out of the refrigerator, and I'm allowing it to come back to room temperature. But in the meantime, I am going to be making our batter, and this is going to be a dry batter, of course, that I'm going to be dipping the chicken in. Now I've added just about 2 tablespoons of cornmeal to my basin. I'm now going to be adding some flour. Now you need a lot of this, right? Why? The chicken was in the buttermilk, and so because it would have soaked up all of that, you have to be careful that the milk here doesn't just absorb all the flour and then allow it to be what I call pudgy, you know, like mushy. I don't want that to be the reality. So I'm going in with a good amount of flour, maybe 2 cups of flour. Yeah, that is good. Now the next stage of the game here is to season the flour, right? By the way, I'm just using regular all-purpose flour. You could use counter flour, that is also fine. I'm going to be seasoning this flour, and the key to this is to make sure that the measurements are equal. This is in terms of what I'm going to be adding. So I'll be adding some cayenne pepper, and I'm going in with about a tablespoon. Now there's one key ingredient that I have not added just yet, and I was hoping that by now persons who watch this channel will be like, isn't she missing something? She sure is. That's her ginger. But I'm just going to be using then a little chicken spice mix that I found here that has some ginger in it. It has some pimento as well, and it has some cumin and some celery salt. So I'm going to go in about half that amount right there. And that's because I can't find the ginger. So, you know, I have to still get that ginger flavor somewhere, somehow. So now that I have that, the next stage of the game is to whisk this all together. All the herbs and spices are here, as you can see. Take a nice little look. Next step is just to whisk this all together. Don't take this process lightly, right? You want to make sure that the herbs, the flavor, it's tasted in every single bite of the chicken, and that is the primary reason for seasoning this flour. I have the oil going now in my fryer. It's an old fryer. Notice that it's round. If you look on the inside, you can see that this is really used. It's very old. I hardly use it because I hardly fry food, but this is heating up right now. I have it at the minimum level because it's just one whole chicken that I'm going to be frying. So while this is happening, I'm now going to go ahead and put my chicken through the flour batter. I have the chicken now that I'm going to be putting in the flour, taking it from the buttermilk, putting it in the flour. Now, one of the key things here for me is that I I'm not going to be overcrowding the pot, so I'm doing it 2 by 2. So there's a way in which I do this, which is just this: to scoop the flour from behind and to turn it over this way, move it back, pat it, turn it over, you know, just to make sure that all the pieces are covered, pat it. And then there's a key way to do this now. You want to get rid of the excess flour. You want to put your what you may call this now, your wrist, the 2 bones of your wrist together, just like this, and knock it. And all you're going to be doing is knocking off the excess flour that is to be found on the chicken. So once that's done now, I'm just gonna put it here to the side for it to air dry. That's what we refer to it as. Going in now with a second piece. Remember, when you're going to be going through this breading process, you don't want to have the seasoning on it at all, as best as possible, right? It's one piece there, and I like to put it down with the skin side down first to basically soak up that flour. So here we go again. Just want to pull this over, scoop from behind. Probably could have had more flour in the pan, but that's fine. It's just one whole chicken. To pat it down to make sure it's there. And alright, I want to show you something with the wing. Okay, so some persons like to put the wing in just like this with the flap open and everything. That's not the most ideal way. It's best to put the wing flap behind so it looks like this. All right, so this is the last 2 pieces, and like I said, I wasn't gonna bore you with the process, but I needed for you to see how this is done. So you know, you can basically just put it over maybe about 5, 6, 7 times like this, just to bury it in there, turn it over, do the same thing. This is going to ensure that that little flakiness that you would normally see perhaps on the KFC chicken, you get that on this chicken as well, right? So you just want to basically just press it in, and then you flour again, press in and flour. That is a good technique for frying the chicken and having it come out crispy. And again, that's the last of the 2. Shake, 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 knock the wrist together, boom, excess flour off. See that the flour is actually drying into the mix right here. Wait for the finished product, guys. We're just waiting on our oil to become extremely hot, and then we're going to be dropping these bad boys. Our oil is hot, so I'm gonna go in now with the first piece. Listen to that sizzle. Now the aim is that you're not even supposed to use a metal tong in these things. So if you notice what I just did, I tried my utmost best to ensure that it did not touch the edges. Put that in there. I am not going to be overcrowding the pot. This can take probably 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces at once, but I don't want to overcrowd the pot. So I'm just going to go in with this one again. Here we go. And I am going to cover this and allow it to fry. The first batch is out. You can look at that. You can see those little crispy pieces that I was talking about. It is moist. It looks juicy. It looks succulent. Cannot wait to dig in. So what I have done is to place the chicken on a rack. Just simply, it's an oven rack, and I just put a piece of foil paper at the bottom and use a pan. And the idea is that the chicken will sit here and rest, cool down a little bit, because you know you can't just bite into it being this hot, because all you're gonna do is burn up yourself and really and truly not get the taste of the chicken. So I'm allowing it here to just drip, you know, so the excess oil will drain also from the chicken. I've gone in with my second batch. I've ensured that I've not crowded the pot either, so I'm doing it like 2 to 3 pieces at a time. The chicken is done. It's here, it's draining, pieces are there. So I'm just gonna allow this to cool down a little bit, and then it's gonna be time for me to plate it up. So wait for the plating. Here we have the finished product. So I have some raw veg, literal raw veg. I've also made some gravy for the chicken. It's a sweet and sour sauce. If you look here, you can see that I've sauteed some of the carrots with the onions and a little bit of pepper. and a little bit of vinegar and honey and a little toops of sugar to make a nice sauce to put on the chicken. And of course I have rice and peas. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is Vibing with Via. This is my buttermilk fried chicken, southern style, Via style. Remember to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. See you in the next video.